From the classroom to the studio and back to the classroom, this is ESL Today, broadcasting from Anne Arundel Community College in Earl, Maryland. And now, from his studio in the basement of the Science Building, here's Kirk Palchevsky.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of ESL Today. This is episode 29, and today we're going to focus on pronunciation, specifically patterns of intonation. That and much more coming up today on this edition of ESL Today. Welcome back to the program. During the intro, I mentioned we're going to get into pronunciation, specifically patterns of intonation. When we speak, the pitch of our voice moves up and down, and this is called an intonation pattern, and this is used to communicate information. For example, this will let the listener know whether you are asking a question or making a statement. Now, when people first start to learn a second language, oftentimes they're concentrating so much on sentence structure, verb conjugation, pronunciation in general, that they speak in a monotone rather than using intonation. And this can communicate a completely different message than what your intention is. So we're going to practice using intonation to make you a more effective communicator so that the listener will understand exactly what you are trying to say. We're going to start by distinguishing between questions and statements in terms of intonation. Let me put some examples on the board and let you know what I'm talking about. Take a look. Number 1, I had a good time at the concert. Number 2, we watched the game last night. Number 3, I am going to go to work tomorrow. Number 4, my brother likes to play video games. Number 5, I received a letter in the mail. We are back. I hope that information will be beneficial to you. And just to recap, the intonation patterns in English are most commonly rising or falling patterns. Your voice will either rise or fall at the end of the phrase. Now, for the falling patterns, you see this in the simple declarative sentence, where you're giving information. You see the falling pattern in a command, where you're telling somebody to do something. And you also see it in certain questions. So even questions will change depending on the type of question. Some questions will have the rising intonation pattern, and some questions will have the falling intonation pattern. The WH questions, such as where, what, when, why, will have the falling intonation pattern, where your voice drops at the end, and the yes or no questions will have the rising intonation patterns, where your voice rises at the end. I'm going to give you a list of statements. Some will be interrogative or questions, and some will be declarative, and some will be imperative or command statements. And I would like you to tell me whether my voice rises at the end or falls at the end. Which intonation pattern am I using? Take a look. Number 1, how much does this car cost? Number 2, please give me a glass of water. Number 3, when are you getting married? Number 4, I saw a hummingbird outside the window. Number 5, is Deborah a good student? Were you able to hear my voice rise or fall at the end of each one of those statements? Do you think you were able to identify correctly which intonation pattern I was using? Well, I'm going to put the answers on the board for you, and let's see if you got them correct. Take a look. All right, how did you do? Well, I want to continue on this theme by giving you a narrative. I'm going to give you 2 examples of the same narrative. I will give it to you with good intonation, and I will give it to you with bad intonation. And I want you to determine what type of message I am sending with each type of delivery. Because sometimes when you don't use good intonation, you are communicating a message that was not intended to be communicated. It could come across very negative. And oftentimes when people are learning a second language, they're concentrating so much on the sentence structure, the verb conjugation, and the pronunciation of each word that they forget about intonation, and it comes out monotone. And it doesn't communicate a very positive message. Here's an example. Take a listen. Example number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, our store is now closed. Please take your final purchases to the nearest cashier center. We will be open tomorrow at 9:00 a.m. Thank you for shopping at Montgomery Ward and have a good evening. And here is example number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, our store is now closed. Please take your final purchases to the nearest cashier center. We will be open tomorrow at 9:00 a.m. Thank you for shopping at Montgomery Ward and have a good evening. What did you think about those two narratives? Were you able to identify which one was the bad one in terms of intonation and which one was the good one? Well, I'm going to tell you later on in the show which one was good and which one was bad, and hopefully you were able to identify each one. But for right now, it's time for our health segment, so let's go to our health authority, Dr. Discretion. Hello, this is Dr. Discretion. Did you know that there are two body parts that continue to grow throughout your lifetime? Do you know what they are? The nose and the ears. Sorry, gentlemen. This is Dr. Discretion saying live healthy and live long. Thank you, Doctor. Well, now it's time for our music segment. I'm going to play a song for you, and I'd like you to identify which lines in the song have the rising intonation pattern and which lines have the falling intonation pattern. Give a listen.
It's late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup and brushes along the lawn and then she asks me, do I look alright? And I say yes, you look wonderful tonight.
All right, were you able to identify the lines with the rising intonation pattern and the lines with the falling intonation pattern? Well, if you were, congratulations. If you weren't sure, don't worry about it. We're going to practice some more, but let me put the lines up and identify them with the rising intonation pattern using an R and the falling intonation pattern using an F. Here they are. Although it's late in the evening and she puts on her makeup or declarative statements, you can hear a rising pattern at the end. The singer chose this pattern for effect in this particular song. On the narrative exercise that we did before the music exercise, here are the answers. The bad intonation or monotone was narrative number 1, and the good intonation was narrative number 2. Time to get a check on the weather with our friend Kip Karcher from his ranch in Kinsley, Kansas, just outside of Dodge City. Hello, Kip.
Hey, Kirk.
How you doing today, my friend?
Doing all right.
It looks like you got some sunshine out there on the ranch today.
Yeah, it's pretty warm today in Kinsley. Believe it or not, we're up to 61 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have you been busy out there on the ranch today?
Well, today I haven't got much done. One of my calves run off. I've been busy looking for my stray calf.
I didn't know you had any cats.
Oh, calf, not cat. Why don't you clean out your ears, boy?
Okay, I'll do that. How about a weather report?
Well, like I said, it's up to 61 degrees right now. Winds are out of the northwest with gusts up to 18 miles an hour.
Is there any snow in the forecast?
No snow today, but we're supposed to get ice pellets on Monday, 5 to 8 inches. And then we're supposed to get snow on Tuesday. Temperatures are going to drop down to 28, expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow on Tuesday.
All right, Kip, you be safe out there, buddy.
All right.
We'll check in with you later.
I'll be standing by if you need me. This is Cowboy Kip Karcher from the ranch in Clinton, Kansas, saying so long.
And that's our show for today. On behalf of the entire ESL Today staff, I want to thank you for joining me. And I hope that something you saw today was a benefit to you. If you liked what you saw, please tell your friends to watch. And I look forward to seeing all of you next time, right here on ESL Today.